In 1977, we made several trips to Paris as part of the negotiations that my boss, Assistant Secretary Dick Holbrooke, was carrying out with Vietnamese Foreign Minister Fauchon. We were discussing diplomatic exchanges, how the post-war relationship could be started, what could be put in place. There was a lot of talking, but not many decisions. The Vietnamese had rejected the offer that Assistant Secretary Holbrooke had made to let's start and establish diplomatic relations right now. But going to Paris could be enjoyable. I got to go around and see a number and sample and try a number of the wonderful French restaurants and French wines, see the city, and while we stayed at the Hotel Crillon. So as Christmas was approaching and Paris was becoming a festive place, we were there, and suddenly late at night, 11:30 or so, there's a huge explosion nearby, and we wondered what could it be, and threw on some clothes. 3 or 4 of us from the American delegation, we went out, and this was unusual for explosions like this to happen in major cities in the 1970s. And we found that the explosion had been something done by the separatists who were anxious to strike the French where it hurt the most, and so they had blown up the Fauchon gourmet grocery store that was nearby our hotel. So here's this incredible grocery store. We had walked past it a number of times. There would be geese and hanging in the window, dressed to be taken home for Christmas feast, bottles of wine laid out beautifully, all of the kinds of specialty foods that French gourmands were anxious to sample. And here the explosion had happened. The windows were all blown out. Fire had ravaged the building, and the smoke was still coming out. And as we stood there, suddenly we could quaff the smoke. It was the bouquet of the turkey and geese burning and cooking, and as if cooked in all this incredibly expensive French wine. And we were there on the sidewalk, sort of jumping up in the air on our tippy toes to see how much of the wonderful ambrosia-like smoke that was coming out of the grocery store. No people were hurt. It was done at night, but hitting the French where it hurt the most in their food was a clever twist by the terrorist separatists who had done this.